10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Damn. It's so easy to win Dota. Just ban the good heroes, but people just refuse.
Radiant team ban.
Mm-hmm.
Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining.
I think Mirana is just one of those all-inclusive, nice package heroes. You have some team fight contribution with the Moonlight Shadow, as well as a great way to set up ganks. You have a stun, which is not super reliable, but it's not super unreliable either. Like when someone's TPing away, you can always hit them with the arrow, right? And if you have any kind of stuns, you have a setup. And if you don't have any kind of stuns, what the hell are you doing? Don't play Dota. Don't play competitive Dota if you don't pick stuns. So yeah, you're always gonna have a setup, and Mirana just has teamfight contribution. You have the ace in the sleeve with random arrows that can set up teamfights. You have a ton of magic damage, and on top of that, you actually have an escape as well, which is really nice for supports. So it's just one of those heroes that kind of does everything. It's not the most reliable hero, but it's still really nice.
Dire team ban.
Okay, go ahead.
10 seconds
What?
remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Hmm. Maybe it is a bit weird that it got banned already, but at the same time, Nate's has some really good matchups against Tiny and DP. So in general, I would agree with your sentiment. And Lifestealer is pretty shit against like 60% of every single carry in the game, which is not a great position to be in. But there are some specific spicy matchups there that you cannot afford to ignore. And DP and Tiny are definitely two of those.
Yeah. I just became aware here, Wingblade. Regrettably, we've got to go back to the drip, fam, because I was just made aware that we didn't actually have any audio coming out from me, only from you earlier on. So I think we have to redo this intro just so people know what the stakes are.
Wait.
All right.
Yeah, okay, let me get my glasses back.
Hey, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
I hope people enjoy my voice.
Fortunately, you have an incredible voice. Unfortunately, we are back with actual audio for some DPC action. This is the South American Division Tour. The spring tour is continuing towards the majors, towards CI. We have Omega Gaming on the one hand, taking on the side of Ravens on the other. And of course, this best of 3 matchup is not just important for the standings here, but you might not have heard the questions I've been asking Wingblade. You've been very perplexed. Why is he answering into the void? But he mentioned it before. Ravens trying to survive in the division right now. Because they've already suffered 2 losses, it's quite unlikely that they find themselves being promoted, given that not a single team, and I mean that, not a single team in all of DPC history has been promoted to Division 1 with more than 3 losses, or more than 2 actually. 3, you're done. You can't get promoted. So if they suffer this loss here against Omega Gaming, there's practically no chance for the Raven squad. On the other side, for Omega Gaming, if they were to suffer a shock upset, that would mean that they've taken their final loss. They can't actually suffer anymore, and they really would be sad about that, because I think that right now, them and Noping, probably the teams in contention for promotion into Division 1. But now that we have audio back, we've done that intro. Back to the draft. Let's see some heroes. And Wingblade, Dawnbreaker Clockwork. What the hell? What is happening? What's going on here?
Yeah, we're gone for like 2 minutes and then the meta gets broken apart.
Team ban.
We have a Dawnbringer. The thickest of heroes. This should be good.
Yeah, man. With the Chun-Li Thunder Thighs. So this seems and appears to be the support duo for Omega Gaming, the POS 5 Dawnbreaker and the Clockwork in the POS 4 position. I remember that offlane Dawnbreaker meta. Wasn't really a fan, if I'm honest. I'm much happier now that it has shifted back into being primarily a support. On the other side, though, for Ravens, a support that we've been seeing coming up really highly is this Enchantress hero, emerging yet again for the Ravens. Very happy to see it. Enables their lanes quite a lot more, gives some protection towards the Terrorblade later on in the game as well. At the very least, you know, you might not be able to get like massive damage output, but you can create some complications for heroes like Tiny, who has like an absurdly bad attack rate. Obviously, there's enough magic damage to burst you anyway. But one thing I'm very intrigued about is Terrorblade. I actually haven't seen Terrorblade since I think day 2 of the DPC. For the most part, this hero has been largely ignored, especially in lieu of such other amazing carries in the meta right now, like the Tiny, for example, we see on the other side. Hell, I've been seeing Razors picked more often than the Terrorblade. What is it about this game here, Wingblade, that makes Ravens feel like the Terrorblade is the right option into this Omega draft?
5 seconds remaining.
I think TB has a pretty decent matchup against Tiny. It's not the best, because Tiny does, of course, have a lot of burst damage still. But he is largely physical damage, especially in the late game, and he's quite slow. So if you have a Terrorblade who has like a Skadi
Dire team
and is
ban.
quite tanky, just wailing away at a Tiny, well, that's not a good time for the Rockman. Also, it looks like Ravens in general just kind of favor this hero. They've contested it 3 times. One was a ban and 2 picks. So in 50% of their games they've been playing TB. They haven't won with it, but they do seem to favor it highly.
I mean, sometimes there's something to be said about sticking to your guns, even if they haven't been successful so far. Just having that obstinance and that stubbornness to keep going no matter what. Eventually, you'll get the results that you actually need. As we see now, into this final phase, Puck being banned, Batrider removed from play for Omega. They want their mid laner, who will be the Doxia. What? Okay, so we're going to be having a mid Death Prophet. Or is this a mid Dawnbreak? Nah, it's mid DP. I would actually, let me tell you right now, Wingblade. If they play mid Dawnbreak, I'm quitting, fam. Right here, I'm done. We're stopping the stream. You're gonna solo cast the rest of the day. I
mean, I have been solo casting, so I can keep doing it.
There we go.
5
See?
seconds remaining.
Are you a fan of this last pick Doxia? I mean, it gives them an incredibly powerful lane. The Doxia Clockwork lane is insane down the game. Gives them an incredible way to take advantage of the Terrorblade later on in the game with the Wall of Replica. It gives them a lot of lane control and a hero that can farm passively in the off lane, even if things don't start well. Overall, though, I'll be honest and say I've not really been a fan of Doxia for quite some time. Is this the meta? Is this the kind of game to whip him out again and try and make him successful?
I was gonna comment on how Clockwork is kind of a weird pick to me, because both Sand King and Mirana can easily get out of the cogs, and Ench, well, she has an insane amount of healing. But with the Doxia, it's actually quite decent. Not only can you chase down a hero like Sand King or Mirana after their escape mechanism, but it's also just pretty good against TB in general. Not just in lane, but also later in the game. I'm not fully convinced by that draft, though. It seems like they're maybe lacking a bit of a solid playmaker. But who knows? Maybe I'm proven wrong.
Last pick on the Storm Spirit for Ravens gives them that kind of playmaker that we are lacking at present from the side of Omega Gaming. And though we lack that degree of playmaking from them, the one thing we do have from Omega is they've got some
Actually,
pretty decent
I
setup.
take it back. They have tiny mid.
Is it tiny? Oh my god. Okay. Well, wait, what? Wait a
Oh no,
second.
actually no. No,
Uh,
I'm an idiot. They
oh,
have
no, they're
DP
doing-
mid. They
yeah,
lack a
DP, okay.
playmaker.
Okay. Whew. I was so scared for a second. I was like, what? Tiny mid? Don't break my heart like this. I'm looking at the Storm Spirit though from the other side for Ravens. It feels like if I'm gonna play Storm Spirit, you know, I'm not a mid player all that often, but this is one of the games I would love to play a Storm Spirit middle. There's very little locked on the enemy side. The burst potential isn't that great outside of the Tiny, and even then he requires a lot to make that happen. And you just have a more or less free game once you get BKB on this hero. So although overall I'm personally favoring Omega Gaming, I think they're the stronger team, I really like the Storm Spirit. Tell me, Wingblade, is the Storm Spirit going to be good enough in this game to give them what they need on the side of Ravens to get this win and finally get a TB win on the board as well?
I think this very well might be the game. I do favor the draft as well. Omega is very momentum based. If you have a tiny, like, that's ahead and can actually hit creeps, and Death Prophet can manage to take towers, and Darkseer can play aggressively instead of having to just iron shell creeps, I feel like they could have a very strong draft. But if something goes wrong, and they're gonna have to play like Darkseer Death Prophet from behind, that is a terrible time. Especially like you said, with the Storm Spirit that is largely uncontested, aside from some tiny stuns and a DP silence.
Another concern I have here though is for Omega Gaming, the one thing that I see as well, you were mentioning they have to play very momentum based. They're also very ultimate based here. How do they actually take big or like overall team fights if they don't have the DP ult, or if they don't have access to Chan having the Solar Guardian to provide some degree of protection? Can they even engage fights at all? Or is it just a thing of you have to wait for those ults? Because otherwise, what do? What, Mingati? That's it? That's the team fight damage? Doesn't feel like it's going to ever be enough. Unless maybe they get like a super early blink from Lissex. You find like a massive wall on the back of the fight. But even then, it feels a bit iffy in terms of the setup here for Omega Gaming. I'm actually really worried about how they take any of these fights. All right. Let me ask it like this. Is there ever going to be a fight that we see Omega winning where they aren't using Exorcism coming out of Jamari?
I'm gonna go with sure. It's Division 2 SA. Anything can happen.
Oh man, do you remember that last game we caused together? That game was so wild, dude. That was...
Yeah, the bar is set very high.
As y'all don't even know, but last season I gave Wingblade here the moniker of the conductor of chaos, because those kind of games, especially here in South America, that's what he thrives on. He actually feeds off of it. You don't see behind the scenes, but he literally grows in size every time he sees a chaotic, wild team fight. So I'm hoping that at the end of this day, we have him as swole as humanly possible. This game should be exciting. And Ravens, I want them to win so they can keep the division exciting. That being said, though, for Omega here, Wingblade, we've been seeing a couple of their games. If they lose this one, you know, then they are sitting at the 1-2 scoreline. From what you've seen from the squad, do you believe they actually have the quality to get promoted into Division 1? Or are they also another team that just should be looking at survival and possibly like 3rd, 4th finishing rather than promotion?
I feel like so far the clear best team from what I've seen is No Ping.
Yeah.
So I would definitely expect them to be going to Division 1 next season. They've just 2-0'd everything. And I feel like Omega does have a chance for the 2nd spot, but that is like a super contested spot. I can see it going to like 4 different teams. Because you have Dreamers, you have SG, you have Omega, of course, and even something like a team like G Pride technically still has a chance. So it's gonna be pretty hotly contested, but it wouldn't be the weirdest thing, Evan. Omega Gaming is pretty decent.
Certainly hoping to see them contest for that slot and keep it competitive. But even if they don't manage to get themselves a promotion, nonetheless, they're making this division fun to watch and fun to be involved in, fun to engage in. So make sure that you are watching every single game because, hey, South America, listen, I cast other regions, but I'm telling you, South America is the most fun to watch reliably game after game, even if you don't know what the result is going to be. Well, We need a result from this game in order to determine if Omega Gaming has a chance at promotion or if Ravens are simply going to be sitting here hoping to survive Division 2 or if they're going to try and make a run finally for Division 1. To find this out, we need a game of Dota, and the game of Dota is what we have now. Omega Gaming versus Ravens. Game number 1 is on, and we are finally getting into it. Obviously, we had an extended pause. This is Dota 2, after all. What else can you have? It is what it is. And, here, middle, they get the... Oh, they're actually not going to plant the ward just yet. Oh, no. No. Did he get spotted? I think he got spotted, right? There's no way that he gets away with this on Dark Demon.
Yeah, always feels bad. It's like the worst start to the game.
Let's see here. Everyone's stacking up. We're not going to have an early engagement breaking out just yet. So, this early fight... Most likely, if they do decide to go for some kind of forceful engagement, will somewhat benefit the side of Ravens if they can keep access to this arrow and the burrow strike. But looks like Omega Gaming want to make the invasion up the hill here, forcing the Ravens away from this area, making this contestation a little bit harder for them to achieve. If they can get a 3-1 start here, this would be very nice for the side of Omega. You were talking about how they need a snowball, and one of the easiest ways to get a snowball is some early gold. It's always fun for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And there is, of course, the threat of the arrow burrow strike, but they don't really have a lot of follow-up. You have like 2 stuns, then there is no damage because, well, you have like a TB and an Ench. That feels kind of bad, so... Omega definitely had the room to be aggressive there with how tanky and strong their heroes are level 1. Like the lowest HP hero on their squad has 680 HP right now. It's insane.
That seems balanced. I see no problem with this. This seems perfectly fair to me, but yeah. 680 HP with 3 and 5 armor. These are not very squishy heroes that are on the side of Omega Gaming. Also, seems like middle, they got away with it from Omega. The ward that was planted out here by Dark Demon didn't get dewarded. The Enchantress was walking around with the sentry, but didn't end up planting it out. Instead, not only does Dark Demon get to keep the ward middle, they blocked the pull camp here from the storm. The farm camp, sorry, and they blocked the pull camp up on top. Feels like the support battle has been handedly won in these first 30 seconds by the side of Omega here, Wingblade.
It could still be that Storm just buys his sentry after getting his bottle, but he doesn't have it in his quick buy, so... Maybe they just didn't notice it. Happens sometimes, even to professionals.
Even to the pros, these things do end up occurring. You know, Dota's a complicated game. You can't remember and be cognizant of every single little thing as time goes on. But now, though, you'll at least be happy about the fact that you can farm the lane versus a DP without dying heads up as the Storm Spirit gets harder as the levels start to accrue. But for now, I think Nengoflo should be fine overall. As we turn our attention down to this bottom lane here, Wingblade. Dismar and Benyaz on the Miranda Sand King. This lane has a lot of promise together. Obviously, as they get more levels, more damage output does emerge. But will they be actually able to fulfill the promise of this lane and get kills into a tiny lane being protected by the Stormbreaker?
Yeah, it's kind of hard because it's a really nice combo with setup, but it doesn't deal like 1100 damage. So they would need to go for multiple goes, and if Chan is doing his job, then he's just gonna heal up the Tiny every single time with selves.
I love that you're a man of culture and you're also calling Shan! Good job. That's the way it's supposed to be.
And it's in capital letters, so...
Oh, I can't wait until he does something cool in this game, then I get to yell this at the top of my lungs. It's gonna be very exciting. Top lane.
Nice.
Dad! Ooh. Playing with Kara as his support, backing up away from Dark Demon. Well, Dark Demon's rather running forward to try and see if he can maintain this block on the camp. It looks like that's going to be the case. Instead, just got a block and he's going to deward again. So very insistent that they're not going to be getting a strong lane here in the top for this Terrorblade. But for the most part, it's... Can you even stop this lane? As like TB Clockwork, it's a strong lane, don't get me wrong, but this is also Terrorblade, right? There's not much you can do in the grand scheme of things. Sure, it is a lot of magic damage, but it's TB, man. This hero is just so strong. And middle, what? What? Solo kill on Storm Spirit from a Death Prophet? How did that happen here?
They had been trading at like 150 HP for such a long time. And they kept trying to go for kill attempts, both of them. So like the Storm running in, going for a Vortex, and then a Remnant, and then Death Prophet had to run away with like popping a Fairy Fire and just barely surviving. Then took a Tango, and then Storm was a little bit too aggressive again, and just a few hits in a Crypt Swarm was enough.
Wow, okay. That's certainly something. That is certainly something. Quite surprising that we actually had this go in this direction. Of course, it's going to lead to a much better start now for Jumari in this mid lane. Mango Flow is actually falling low quite quickly, right respawning right into the damage of the DP. This is very problematic, Wingblade. You've already eaten through all the bottle charges. You're only back to half HP. If Jumari gets any degree of support coming in through this mid lane, it feels like it'll be a guaranteed kill happening onto the Storm Spread once again.
Dire's courier has been
Yeah.
killed.
This is definitely a rough start for Storm, especially because he doesn't have the camp to fall back on. So he's running down and he's like, oh, never mind. I'm not allowed to have fun.
Okay. He
And
finally
just
gets the
running to that
sentries.
camp, he's already missing creeps. So he's going to the hard camp now with level 1 static remnant. That feels so bad.
Pain and suffering is going to be there for him as he's trying to farm. In the meantime, though, Shan is taken out in this bottom lane as Disma and Benyaz finally do make use of the combination. I'm not sure if they used all the spells. Nope, it was just leaps and right clicks. Okay. They didn't even need to use the combination, but it ultimately proved to be enough to kill this Dawnbreaker. I mean, Shan is not too sad about this, right? You're level 3, you come back with full HP, full mana. You went for the 2 points into the Seleseli Hammer, so you definitely want to be providing some degree of harass potential. So I guess it's okay dying like this. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, you're just at position 5. Your life has no value. Looks like Darkseer is gonna be rushing an Aghanim Scepter. Pretty standard build for Darkseer these days.
Yep.
And Exorcism is actually popped on mid lane.
Mario wants to put some pressure
With the
onto the
catapult?
tower. Did they get this with
If they can keep this catapult alive, that is huge. Really nice rotation timing by the supports. Because they know that Storm is not there, so just by tanking the tower for a moment, they keep the siege creep alive, and they take a really quick tier 1, which is so nice, because they know that Storm is gonna be jungling a lot. So if you can invade now, that is huge.
Gotten the tier 1 tower kill. You still have one of his camps blocked. You make it a lot harder for him down the line to be able to maintain control anywhere on the map. And now that you've taken this early tower, 6 minutes in, you've gotten the tier 1 middle. Presumably, Ravens will be thinking about how on earth do we try to get a tower back ourselves. But one thing that this also does here, Wingblade, is this opens up Death Prophet, who normally doesn't like to make early rotations off of a lane before killing the tower. Now suddenly, as soon as you make a move as Storm Spirit anywhere on the map, there's a very big chance that this DP just shows up, pops Ghost, and tries running at you at that time. As we see top lane, Ravens finally getting a kill for themselves onto this top lane, as a dad on the Terrorblade will bring down the Dark Demon Clockwork. Good gold in the pockets for the TB, as well as making sure to maintain his overall CS, and now he can contest even better against the Darkseer in lane.
Yeah, I like that Storm is farming in the triangle now as well, keeping the jungle open for his TB and Mirana to run around. Because at like 10 to 15 minutes, both the Storm Spirit and the TB are gonna wanna use the jungle, so they need to make sure that they coordinate properly where they wanna go, so you don't end up wanting to farm the same camps and wasting efficiency. Shan!
He's gonna survive! Shan! 22 HP will be enough to keep him alive. Ultimately, though, the rest of the team will show up to get revenge. They bring down Kara, who was trying to get a quick kill there with Dismar. Unfortunately, Dark Demon opened up space with the power cogs, and Jamari was able to get some damage out as well with the double damage rune. And they bring down this Enchantress. That is going to be a kill after being able to pick up a tier 1 tower in this mid lane. This is looking such a good game for the Death Prophet. And they might even try to rotate to the top lane now that they have Exorcism back online and decide to put pressure on that tower instead right now.
Yeah, and that's gonna open up the jungle even more if they can manage to get it. And Ravens doesn't have a lot of D-push, especially now that TP spot. And he doesn't have meta yet, so they can try to pressure this tower a little bit. Because they kill creeps quite quickly, but they don't really have a lot of actual tower damage.
Yeah. Especially now that meta is down. He's going to have it back up in another 35 seconds, but they certainly will be able to push the tower faster from the side of Omega if they do activate the ghosts. They're putting pressure on this with the Sandstorm as middle. They made a big dive here with the rest of the Ravens. 3 heroes have shown up. Nengoflo gets assistance from his supports, and they are able to claim the tier 1 tower middle after getting a kill onto the Chan Dawnbreaker. Tier 1 tower bottom. This has to fall for Ravens. Fortunately for them, they didn't pop the ghosts top for Jamari, so doesn't seem like they'll be able to make that push happen in time to come bottom and contest. This is a really good for the side of the Ravens overall. Just to be able to get some space on the map for this Terrorblade, man. I was really feeling worried about where on earth can he actually farm effectively if he doesn't have access to this bottom jungle, but at least now he does have it, and they got the tier 1 tower middle. So although they lost out big early on, things are sort of stabilizing right now for the Ravens.
Yeah, definitely not bad. Exorcism wasn't committed in top lane, so that's still available, but just trading the tier 1 mid for your tier 1 top that you're probably gonna lose anyway is a pretty nice trade. And I like that the TB rotated bottom as well, because currently the enemy jungle is a lot safer than his own.
Sometimes you gotta break into somebody else's house if you wanna sleep safely. So Terrorblade doing that exactly right now. Keeping things calm.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what I do all the time.
Y'all don't even know right now. Before he came on the broadcast, Wingblade was like, damn, man, my chair's not feeling comfortable. Broke into his neighbor's house. He's like, sweet, man. And I'm gonna borrow yours for a second.
Yeah, that's how you, like, keep safe in this world. Just by breaking into people's houses. Thanks for the advice, Snare.
Listen, if people are looking for you and they never know where to find you, then you're always safe, man. You'll be fine.
True. Actual good life advice here.
Things that you can definitely action and make sure that if you get brought up in court, don't even mention the name Snare. I don't know that. I don't know you exist right now, honestly, if you follow my advice.
You call me the conductor of chaos. Come on, Snare.
You know who I want to have a chaotic game? I want the Storm Spirit to do interesting things here. He had a very rough start. There's no way around it. Lost out in the mid lane pretty big. Got solo killed. Got some of his jungle taken over, got his ward dewarded, and wasn't able to deward in the opposite direction. It's been a rough start, but he's starting to make that kind of recovery here. But one thing I always worry about with the Storm Spirit hero, it feels so lackluster if in the like 10 to 20 minute mark you don't get something resembling success out of these first few rotations. And it looks like they have something of an agreement with me, because they're going to try and make this jump onto Jamari, and there we go. Quick movement. Death Prophet losing a lot of HP right now. She's going to almost get taken down. She's still alive, but not for much longer. They finally do get the kill. The double damage rune on Nengoflo helped out a lot, and the Centaur Conqueror stomp onto the Clockwork will enable the Storm Spirit to secure himself the double kill. That's going to be the Ravens popping off pretty big right here. 2 heroes brought down in this mid lane, one of them being the all-big Death Prophet of Jamari. And that good Sir Wingblade will make sure that Nengoflo is back in the game, and he's not going to be suffering the rest of the... Well, I don't know how long the game's going to go, but at the very least, we will have an actual Storm Spirit for the rest of it.
One thing that's surprising me a little bit is that the Tiny isn't having that great of a time. Actually behind the Storm Spirit right now. Because it feels like he's had the space to farm, because his team was making plays, pushing towers, but just hasn't really had that much fun yet. Same could be said for the Darks here, but that's an offlaner. They're not supposed to have fun.
Yeah, really hasn't actually gotten off to that hot start that we would have loved to see out of the Tiny, and wasn't necessarily the case that it was a too iffy laning phase. It started off okay, space has been made for him. These Ancients farms will at least buttress some of the net worth, allow him to catch back up, but it's been a bit peculiar up until this point. And it might get worse, because I just saw that they got themselves a Blink Dagger here available on Benyaz. If they can get this delivered once his courier respawns, it's a huge opportunity for Ravens to try and catch the Tiny whilst he's inside the jungle. But right now, Omega have smoked first. We have the Dogs here, we have the Clockwork. They're gonna try and make something happen. Dark Demon has Iron Shell sitting on him right now. Can he find the angle for a good hook shot? Doesn't seem like they have any targets outlined so far. There's only some illusions down bottom from the Terrorblade. Once Shan gets rid of them, they will understand that there's no fight to happen here. Dark Demon, though, still really wants to jump somebody, but they don't have any viable targets. This feels so sad when you make these first smokes right after you hit level 6 as Clockwork and nothing happens. You just want to cry, man. You wish you just picked a different hero.
Yeah, I'm just not sure what the plan is for them right now. They tried to go for a two-man smoke, but I don't think Clockwork plus Darkseer right now is strong enough to really kill someone. Even if they manage to get the hook on TB, they can't stop him from summering.
Oh.
Maybe they can get this Eng, but it's gonna be a really slow kill.
Yeah, it might actually be the
If they
Death
do get
Prophet
it.
who actually makes the kill happen as she shows up with the Exorcism, gets hit up with the Surge as well to enable her to chase down this Enchantress. That's going to be the one kill. Will they be able to find more? Meantime, in the mid lane, Shan got jumped on by Nengo Flow. I think they're just distracting them from being able to chase forward. And Ravens, if they end up just losing Enchantress in exchange for Exorcism, I think you take this any day of the week. And of course, right now, Omega also don't really have an easy way to use any of their other spells to initiate after using the hook shot. So now suddenly you're the ones that have to play it close together. Ravens are spreading very far apart on the map, farming all aspects of it. Ravens are winning out these last couple of seconds, and they are a-okay with the death of the Eng.
For sure. And TB is just farming away, working towards the Manta style. And I'm not even sure if he needs to get BKB this game. Guess there isn't that many stuns on Omega.
I agree.
And this is coming from me. I love BKBs. I always tell carries to buy BKBs every single game. But he has so much space.
He's just chilling, man. He's enjoying his life. Just getting everything freely for him. I feel like also if he jumps BKB and you go like Skadi directly after this Manta, I actually don't see how they kill him afterwards. He queues up the Skadi now, but what, like, okay, let's think about the magic damage they have, right? So they have Iron Shell, they've got Tiny Salvo, they've got Celestial Hammer from Dawnbreaker. You know, you've got Rocket Flare. Yeah, if he just tanks up, I don't think he ever dies here. This might be even one of those rare games where right after getting the Skadi, you rush the Satanic, and then you just stand your ground every single fight, never die no matter what.
Yeah, but we'll see how Omega tries to counter this. I'm sure they're gonna find some options somewhere. And of course, they do have the Darkseer, who is quietly grinning when he sees TB build stat items.
Yep. He's like, yes, I'm gonna get a Terrorblade for my team as well. He's almost got this Aghanim Scepter going, and at that point, we've got ourselves the double Iron Shells. Dawnbreaker dies top, but meh, you mentioned it earlier. The supports, who cares about past 5 lives at all? We might care about this midlife though, because Benyaz goes in with the Blink Dagger Epicenter. They want to find Mingati. Nongaflow will come in as well. We'll be able to get the full catch onto the Tiny. At the same time, Kara, they thought that they were maybe jumping the Enchantress, trying to make some cover happen with the Clockwork Goblin, but instead all they do is give up even more heroes to the pockets of Ravens. And the Ravens lineup have walked away right now here, Wingblade, with 3 heroes killed middle. Storm Spirit getting a ton of gold out of that, going straight into the Sange and Kaya. And more importantly, Terrorblade still being uninterrupted in the farm.
Yeah, this is rough. Every single time Omega tries to do something, it doesn't work. Because they don't have great initiation, and at the same time, Ravens is making these moves. They are playing 4v5 and they're still finding the kills.
Just crazy. They just found another one. There in the Radiant Triangle. Benyaz made the jump. Nengoflow made the catch happen. And Ghost, what? Was that a mistake? What happened?
I am not sure. I just saw a Death Prophet with ghosts.
That's not supposed to be happening. Benyaz, nice jump away to ensure he doesn't get caught out by the Clockwork there. The hookshot would have been disastrous had it connected flush, but fortunately it does not. They still did end up losing this Mirana on this side of the map, but like you just mentioned, because they've used these ghosts down bottom, Yamari can't actually put any kind of aggressive posture on the map for quite some time. We'll have to just sort of hang back and hope for the best whilst this team is still continuing to farm up. I feel like until they get access to the Aghanim shot and maybe even a +1 on Mingati, it feels like right now they actually don't have any damage on Blade. Like, who do they actually kill outside of these supports? I don't see Sand King dying in the middle of these fights. I definitely don't see that happening to Terrorblade, and Storm Spirit has Sange and Kaya right now. So it's so much more difficult to make those kind of engagements happen. They're going to try and force it because Lissex is smoked up with Dark Demon. Dark Demon smoke breaks in front of Nengoflo. And they have to know that this is not going to go well, especially since Ravens has just scanned them out. I don't think anything's going to happen here.
Yeah, and there is a small power spike on the Daxia with Aghanims now. But their moves are just so predictable because their lineup is so slow. Like, this is what I said about the Playmaker. They have a Daxia, they have a Death Prophet. I guess they can win team fights or go for pushes, but it just feels like their map presence is not there.
Yeah. Not at all right now. Like, they're really struggling to accomplish anything on the map at present. Just hanging back, hoping and praying that this Tiny gets big enough. I mean, we're 18 minutes in, he's about to get the Aghanim shard. We have sometimes seen this timing with the shard, Shadow Blade, Echo Saber be hit at exactly the 15-minute mark. Not that kind of game so far for Tiny, but until it is, does feel like Ravens will be having a practically free time as they pop the Moonlight Shadow. Big zip going down. They find Shard. Once again, this is going to be a dead Dawnbreaker. Sellyhammer will not protect you in this instance. We've had some cancelled TPs, but they still want to come and fight in the fight here for Omega. At the same time, Nengoflo, he doesn't have any mana left here, Wingblade. He actually went too far in the wrong direction. Will end up diving headlong into these heroes on the side of Omega, but the epicenter goes into Jamari, and Ravens getting immediate revenge for their mid laner. The question is, what will the rest of the squads do after this? Ravens, they have this Terror Blade with the Skadi, ready and waiting to try and force a fight here. Mingati walking underneath some reveal. He gets Sparrow struck. Do they have the damage to kill him before he can try and turn this around? They don't just yet. Here comes in the Solar Guardian from the Dawnbreaker, but Mingati will die towards the impetus shot coming in from Kara. Shan, you came in to save your carry. Little did you know you might have just come in to feed the enemy carry, but Dad is in danger. Dad is dying. Dad gets ticked down. Dark Demon able to secure the kill there. Now he's running for more, looking for Dismar as well, pushing him away. They will be able to get a double kill on the Clockwork here. And somehow, some way, not only do they defend the tier 2 tower Wingblade, but they turn it into a freaking team wipe in this bottom lane.
Yeah, Daxia did so much work there. Just look at the damage done, it's insane.
It's crazy.
Ravens definitely overstayed their welcome there. They got the kill on the DP and then they should have just full backed, but instead they stuck around, and in those kinds of really long fights, that's where a Daxia is gonna shine. Just a constant 90 DPS on like 3 heroes, and even a farmed hero like TB is not gonna be able to stand up to that kind of pressure until he gets Satanic. So he just needs to chill for a bit longer before making these kinds of plays.
Have opted for that Terror Blade that you were mentioning now to go for the DKB. Initially, he was opting to try and skip it, but I think after the last fight, he got a little bit spooked and decided that this was going to be the primary. Oh, wait, no, he's not. Okay, he didn't get too spooked. He bought the Ogre Axe. And then probably someone in the team told him, dude, listen, just what are you doing? Buy Hurricane Pike, man. If you buy Hurricane Pike, then you're still protected from this Darkseer. It's fine, bro. And he's like, okay, cool, I'll do it. Setting up for the D-Lance while the rest of his team is going for a fight. They find the Burst Strike onto Dark Demon. Woo! They will be very happy to kill this Clockwork. How's it feel now, buddy? Dying in the enemy jungle. They take him down. Unfortunately, though, it does cost them the usage of the Moonlight Shadow. So that means that the next few minutes is just going to be a farm fest for them. No real plays made on the map. So it seems like both teams end up in these situations where they commit really big ultimates, but all they get out of it is a support.
Let's see, the Sand King does have a pipe now, which is gonna help mitigate a little bit of the Daxia damage. He's gonna be going for BOTs next. And the pipe is really nice, but at the same time, I do think you wanna have a BKB on the Sand King. So you can just jump in haphazardly, don't care about danger, and then pop the BKB. But we'll see. I feel like eventually he'll probably build it anyway.
Speaking of haphazard kind of jumps, Lissex went for this Blink Dagger immediately after buying the Axe. We used to see this a lot more, like I'd say like 2 patches ago, like blink as soon as humanly possible. They started shifting into more more overall team items. We'll talk about it in a second because Kara, it's just Kara, who cares? So then we started seeing like Greaves, Lotus Orbs, etc. Then things that started to turn back in this direction. What? Barrow Strike catching 3 heroes there. BKB will emerge from Jamari, but it's already too late. Dark Demon's the first one to fall in this fight. Jamari trying to chase down Dad using this exorcism. Do they have the damage with Mingati? Yes, they do. Terrorblade will go down. A beautiful Barrow Strike to be sure, but they still end up losing their Terrorblade. Nengoflo gonna look for revenge, trying to find out Mingati, and another great Barrow Strike catching 2 cores, followed up by the damage from Disma. That's gonna be them dead. Yamari doing what he can on the Death Prophet, but unfortunately death comes to us all, even those who prophesy it. That's a 4-for-1 trade. Omega Gaming went for the fight. It turns out it's not a fight they wanted, your Wingblade, as they lose everyone of value. And Ravens, they get a lot out of it. Sure, you lose the TB, but you take one hell of a fight afterwards.
Yeah, for sure. The Spirit Vessel on Morana is doing so much. Has 8 charges as well. Now has a mech too. And damn, those Burrow Strikes. My goodness. Good stuff.
Shout out Benjas. Definitely shout out Benjas for that one. Did everything in his power to enable his team there. I feel like if they don't get those Barrow Strikes as well as they do, the fight can actually go pretty poorly overall for the side of Ravens, but his initiations, his jumps in, allows them at the end of the day to actually keep these fights going in good stead. Dark Demon now. He has an Aghanim shot here, so he has the jetpack. I think the primary thing about this is they really are feeling on the side of Omega that they need some vision control of this map. They've been struggling with when and where to jump. So this helps them a lot in that regard, but I don't know, Wingblade, is it enough given that they've been decidedly losing the ward war up until this point?
Not sure if it's gonna be enough, but it's gonna be useful to see heroes like Storm Spirit or Sand King before they jump. So it is quite a nice pickup.
Oh no.
It is quite expensive though, it's like half of his net worth.
No. Oh no! A comedy of errors here. Jamari might actually be able to escape because they missed the arrow. The Barrow Strike arrow combination didn't work. Oh no. It does cost a BKB charge, but you'll pay that cost to stay alive. I cannot believe that missed from Ravens. They will be kicking. If they lose this game, at the end of it, they'll be looking back and say, crap, man, why didn't we get that one connection? Might have changed our fortunes. Now suddenly you're not safe to take the tier 2 tower bottom. You can't really make any more aggressive moves. You still have to keep Terrorblade farming. That, I cannot believe that actually just happened. Omega will be very, very happy about this. It buys them so much time here, Wingblade.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But hey, shit happens. Ooh, and Dawnbring. I keep saying Dawnbringer, which is an item from Heroes of Newerth because I'm old. Dawnbreaker almost has Aghanim Scepter. So that is very nice, giving the missed chance as well as more healing.
I feel like
very useful for when Sand King jumps in.
I feel like I would actually prefer this item instead of a shot. Oh, you see Nengoflo popping BKB, forced to jump away. We'll talk about it in a second. Benyas almost getting brought down. Arrow connects onto the clockwork. Will Benyas die here inside the sandstorm? Where's the reveal? Where's the reveal? The sandstorm is actually doing so much work here. They need to get themselves away from the side of Omega Gaming. I cannot believe that for want of a little bit of reveal, they lose out on the King or on the Sand King. And that allows Ravens to just walk away scot-free. Tier 2 tower gets protected. They suddenly can't walk into Roche. How on earth were they not carrying regen? And instead it's them who end up losing, even though once again Omega were the ones that looked for the fight.
Yeah, that is such a rookie mistake. I guess it's because Clockwork died early and he's like the one carrying the dust. But they should definitely have someone like at least Daxia and Dawn. Breaker, Wingblade, not Bringer. She doesn't bring the dawn, she breaks it. Okay.
Technically, she's the solar guardian, you know, she shows up, brings the sun with her. You know, that's sort of bringing the dawn. It's okay, it's fine. We'll allow it. Pepe hands.
Ooh, Storm.
He's fine. He's fine. He's fine. Pepe? Nope, he's not fine. He's not fine. Wasn't there a window there for the BKB? Or was it
He
a...
had 2 seconds cooldown on his BKB. That
God.
was such unfortunate timing.
Unfortunately, though, Tiny doesn't have a BKB of his own, so he needs to get out of here very, very quickly. The Ion Shell Surge will give him enough movement speed and enough magical damage around him to make him a very unattractive target to keep chasing. Ravens will allow him to survive. The same will not be true of the Dark Demon. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but a support for a mid. Finally, we get Omega Gaming taking a favorable trade for themselves, but it might not be over here, Wingblade. Benyaz looking for more. 4-star forward. Really wants to find a Burrow Strike, but I don't think they want to force the issue. They'll be happy if they can force the Roshan instead, as Dad, in the meantime, was taking the tier 1 tower top. Now they move immediately into the pit, and they're going to look for the first ages of this game. They don't have Exorcism to fight against us right now.
I have no idea how they're gonna kill the 3.3k TB with 4 lives. If they can get the Roche.
Big vacuum coming in. Solar Guardian from Shan as well. They actually want to fight this. It's 4v5. There's going to come asunder, but they're inside right now. All of this magic damage, and there's no BKB for the Terrorblade. They still end up getting the Aegis though, but it's snapped by Kara, who's forced to try and protect it and not allow them to steal it from Omega. Unfortunately though, once they bring in the Storm Spirit, there's actually too much damage here. Dad was able to just turn around, start right-clicking away, sundered at the very last minute, but the big damage once again coming in from the Sand King, the Epicenter, the Sandstorm. They're not done just yet because he gets another Burrow Strike Wingblade, and they want more kills, want to turn it into a team wipe. They'll allow Dark Demon to escape, but it's still good enough to engage a tier 2 tower and potentially go up the hill. With the protection of this Aegis, Kara will be the one to tank the tower. I don't make the rules fair, but you got the item, you have to pick up the responsibility.
That was such nice timing for Omega on the Roche. They like walked in at the perfect moment when meta ran out and Roche was low, but then they realized that their lineup doesn't do anything and they can't kill TB. It's a bit of a reality check, and now they're gonna lose at least 1 set of racks. They would have probably lost 2 if TB had the Aegis, but they're gonna play a bit more conservatively now. And TB now also has a Manta. I just have no idea what they're gonna do.
Manta, Skadi, Satanic. We spoke about some of these items earlier on as he was in the build-up to them. Now that he has them available, it does really start to feel like he is beyond the point where Omega Gaming can deal with him in any substantive capacity. You were mentioning in the draft how he can provide a decent matchup into this Tiny, and the matchup is amazing. It's decent under normal circumstances, but it's amazing when you're this far ahead of the Tiny. You know, there's certain hero combinations where you're like, well, even if that hero is ahead, they have to be massively ahead to win the matchup. A Terrorblade 6k ahead of the Tiny, I literally don't see how Terrorblade ever dies in this game unless he makes some major mistakes.
Yeah, both the TB and the Storm are having such beautiful games. Very little control for the Storm, very little damage for the TB, and then you have a Sand King who just has all the space in the world and has an Eon Disc now as well, so he's also never gonna die.
Oh god.
My goodness, and Ench has an Aegis, so he's also not gonna die.
Oh god.
Goodness, Snare, no one is dying anymore for Ravens.
Oh my goodness. So for Omega, let's see what options they have to try and force death to happen, even though it's not supposed to. Jamari still not more offensive items after picking up the BKB Sergeant Kaya. Trying to build into what I assume will be a Shiva's, but we'll see. Sean, well, you're definitely dead. There's no way that you have the luxury of surviving this. They're coming in on the side of Omega. Looking like they might want to take a fight here. Not so sure about this one. Jamari TP'd out very, very last minute. Dismal didn't have access at that moment to the Sacred Arrow. Otherwise, I think we see a dead Death Prophet. But here they come. They took the racks middle. They're going to look for more racks in the top lane. And they found Jamari. Oh no, BKB charge gets forced out. But now that the BKB gone, sure they did have to use Epicenter for that. Not sure it was necessary from Benyaz. But without having access to BKB, how does Jamari approach these fights here, Wingblade?
I have no idea. Without Exorcism, it's hard. Without BKB, it's even harder. Because she's just gonna get bursted. I feel like one of the biggest problems is once again the Spirit Vessel, because even if she does get out like 4 Siphons, it's just not gonna do anything.
Dad will help knock down the top lane of Rax. They've taken it away. It's down for the count. And now that they have access to the Titan Sliver as well on that, finally comes in his Hurricane Pike 2 that we spoke about a long time ago. They'll feel it's time to go and claim Omegas for ourselves. Mingati, gonna try force a fight. They go into Negalore, nicely done. 4-hero Avalanche into a 3-hero Vacuum Wall. Gonna be able to, at the very least, kill the Storm Spirit. Will they be able to get more out of this? Lissax definitely wants it. Yamari, though, falling too low. Dad is just too strong right now on the Terrorblade. They've already managed to bring down 2. Mingati, they will buy back on the Storm Spirit to try and force the fight further. They get in onto the Tiny. Tiny will go down without buyback. Doesn't have an option to return and help his team out. Lissax forced to run away. Shan can do nothing else but try and buy time by fleeing in the opposite direction, but still will end up dying, be forced to buy back. Ravens going for this ultimate push. Doesn't even matter. They don't need this last push because the GG's already been called. Omega Gaming throw in the towel, and they will give up the ghost here in game number 1, granting Ravens the victory and keeping the Division 1 dream. Even if it's only a dream, the dream stays alive right now.
Yeah. That TV. Even in the last fight, they had the perfect initiation, but they just couldn't kill that. Maybe if they had wall, they would have had more of a chance, but even then, it's kind of iffy. He's just so fat, and with the Titan Sliver giving more magic resist and status resist as well, that was just nothing Omega Gaming could do. They needed to snowball, they didn't manage to hit their timing, so Ravens just played a pretty solid game. Just get you a TB fat, keep making plays with Sand King and Storm Spirit, and